to another Nature's Always Right video. Today it's an exciting day because I'm going to be finishing my post-harvest station. I have my washing machine salad spinner, my drying table, the root washing table that collects water into this sump tank down here, and the final piece is going to be my greens bubbler. Now the greens bubbler is an agitator, and what it's going to do is wash my cut greens for me very efficiently. So inside of this tub right here, I'm going to be building out a little structure. It's a 2-inch PVC system with holes drilled into them, and in those holes I'm going to pump air. This is a little jacuzzi pump. It's a 1 horsepower pump, 120 volts. It's very important that you get a 120 volt pump. You can just hook it directly up to a power switch and to the wall, because this is ground, hot, and neutral. That's what we need. So for, at least in the USA, I can speak for that, and that's, you know, the best for us. It was a pump, $90 from Amazon. It was like the easiest and cheapest place I could find it, so I ended up getting it up on Amazon. And I'll put a link in the description for it so you guys can check that as well. It's nice and small. It's supposed to be pretty quiet. It got good reviews. What I'll be doing is attaching this to this board right here. And this board is going to be attached to the frame of the laundry machine spinner. And I'm going to bolt it in with some 3-inch screws. And I'm going to make a supporting side piece as well. And there's just going to be a 2-inch pipe that'll hang down. It'll hang down from there into the tub. And then the PVC bubbler will be in here. Bubbles up, I put the greens in, the dirt falls off to the bottom. I scoop it out. I'll dump it in my salad spinner and then spin it, dry it. I take it back over here to my drying table. So I'll wash red Russian kale, lettuce, tot soy, arugula, you know, the different greens that I have. I'll lay them all out here in different layers. And then I'll run my fans right here and mix up the greens. So that's my last step. It's a process of drying as well as mixing the greens at the same time so that the finished product can go into a bag fully mixed and dry. And a huge advantage of it being dry is that it's going to last a lot longer in the bags. And you actually, you know, you don't want to get all of the moisture out. If you take all the moisture away off of the leaves, then it can start to get a little bit wilty. So you want to be careful. Don't walk away from your fans for too long. I've done that before, and you can come back and there's like a lot of wilted leaves, and it's like, no, because it transpired and lost the moisture. So there's a delicate balance. If there's too much moisture and you put it in a bag or a plastic clamshell, there could be too much moisture, and as you've probably experienced, it gets a little bit gooey. You smell the salad mix. It smells a little off-putting because over time the some bacteria from some dirt and just the water itself starts to break down the leaf, and then it starts to get gross. So if you have the right ideal amount of moisture, then that won't happen. So it just takes a little bit of time to play with that, to figure out what that is. Basically, it's just enough. There's not any amount of moisture at the bottom of the bag. There's just a very slight amount. So that's it. That's my full post-harvest station. And so now it's time to finish this guy off. You know, I've got these 2 tanks here. This one is for holding all the water. So my root table drains down into here. This bubbler will also drain out because this will be filled with water. I'll drain this out into the sump tank. This tank is going to have a small fish pond pump that will pump the water out. And then I can pump that into an irrigation line that exists here for the shrubs. And then I've got these awesome banana trees now. 2 different friends gave me. It's called an ice cream banana tree. And this is a Thai banana tree that I just got from my buddy yesterday. So I'm really excited about these. Then they take tons of water. And then I'm also watering all these shrubs. So, you know, we're saving a bunch of water by storing it in this bin and then reusing it. And especially for San Diego, it's so important to save our water here. We just, you know, we get 10 to 12 inches a year. And it's only during a short period of time. So, you know, every little bit of water we can save, the better. Our city water is also very expensive. So, you know, keeping all that in mind is extremely important. So these are cheap and a little bit flimsy bins. I kind of wish I would have gotten some more sturdy ones, but I think that they're going to work just fine for me. Centered right on the center here. Very nice. And it's already extremely strong. But I'm going to do one more little thing just to keep it, because you know, see it kind of swings. I'm sure the pump vibrates. Both these boards are like, I've noticed that they're moving a bit when I move this board, so I want to connect them to make it a bit stronger, and then I'm going to put a bracing piece attached through all of these. Okay, so let's put it in the center of the board there. Let's drill in. Thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just toenail. This technique's called toenailing. I learned about it from my friends when we were building the chicken coop together. And I am no construction expert whatsoever, but this is kind of how they showed me. So I'm actually thinking that maybe going in from this side will actually be stronger. Wrench on both sides. Then get your angle, like a 45. So here's how I'm going to be setting up the spa pump. This is the main feature of the bubbler. Okay, this is something I bought off of Amazon, and there's a link in the description for it. I think it goes around $90. It's 1 horsepower. This is the really important part, 120 volt. It has to be that so you can plug into house electricity, and 4.5 amps. Obviously this is for an American system, so you need to figure out something that would work if you're in Europe or in Australia or other region of the world. This thing ships with this, and these clips actually go into a little plastic clip, but I'm not going to be connecting it to a clip. I'm going to be connecting it to this, and this is just a male to female plug. Okay, I chopped off the female end to expose the wires. The green is ground, the white is neutral, and the black is a hot wire. That's where the power runs through. Okay, the male end is plugged into a power switch. This power switch, all this is an on and off button. That's the only purpose I have this. There is no on and off button on the spa pump because it's supposed to work in conjunction with the spa's computer controller. So we're just running it directly to electricity and turning it on and off. So the first thing I'll do is just clip these off. So I don't need them. I'll need to expose the wires on both ends that I'll be connecting. Then I'll be using these. These are just your standard wire connectors. There's different ones that you can get, but this is like the cheapest and really easy to set up. So I'll put both wires in there and twist. The wires combine and essentially creates one electrical wire. Set of strip wires, gotta have a wire stripper. These are different gauges of wire and it helps you do it. I don't really know what gauge these are, like 16 maybe. Something like that I think. Yeah, probably 16. Okay, now we're going to do the plug that's plugged into our switch here. So here we go. So black is hot, white is neutral, green is ground. And this is for 120 volt alternating current. Now if you're used to like a car battery or something, that's 12 volt. So that's a little bit different. On that, you know, the red is positive and the black is a neutral, but that's direct current, so it's a different thing. Okay, so now I need to match up each color. So I'm going to twist. So they're both twisted. And this makes it easier for them to like just go in this cap together, I've found. Shove it into the cap and then start twisting it. Twist, 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 and then it gets tight. And you don't want to over tighten it. Before I set anything else up, I'm just going to test this to make sure that it runs. So I'm going to plug it into power and turn the on and off switch on. So when I flip this switch, it should start working. There it goes. Okay, and now I'm just gonna make this, you know, water resistant or pretty close to waterproof. And I'm gonna wrap this up. And I'll make the connections a little stronger so they can't get jerked out. And then all of this wiring and stuff's gonna be tucked under the roof. It'll be tucked under there. So there's no chance of it really getting wet by rain or anything. And then when it does rain, I always unplug all my extension cords. So I'll also do my little bag trick to this as well. I'm not going to cut it so that it's an open-ended bag. I'm going to leave one of the ends closed and just shorten it. So I get these bags for free. There's this one really nice woman who comes to the market every week and shows these are recycled bags. I think they're from a newspaper or something. So now I'm going to shove this guy in here, right at the corner, and then just, I could have made that bag even smaller. And let's duct tape it. This is pretty darn safe, especially when I unplug the extension cords whenever it rains, which is very rare in San Diego. So this might not be a viable option for people where you get a lot of rain and moisture and humidity and stuff, but San Diego's dry and hot. 10 inches of rain a year. There we go, pretty darn safe and free. All right, now that I've got that all set up, I need to mount this to my mounting board. And they have these little brackets all set up for me. I have a bunch of free screws over here I just recycled, and these are about an inch and a quarter, I think. And I've got a washer in there, just gives extra support to this plastic bracket here. So I'm gonna have washers on all 4. Okay, so I just realized I made a big mistake. This should not be here because look where this is sitting. So there's gonna be rain that will pour off of here or through the netting. And even though there won't be electricity or power, there are these vents and water will pour into there and it could damage the pump. So what I think I'm gonna do is just spin this thing and put it against the back of this. Then the pump will be fully underneath this roof here, and there shouldn't be any fear of water splashing into it, and all the electrical will be really safe. So I got this air check valve from my other spa pump that didn't work out, and I think that basically this how this thing works is when the airflow is coming on, it shoots, it moves this spring, the air flows through the pipe, and that's just so water or air can't flow backwards through this thing. So I'm going to use it and see how it works with it on there. And then it's 2-inch on this end, which is exactly what I need to put any fittings on there, just like that. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to pre-drill my holes, and then you can see I'm going to have a 45 going here, and then I'll have another 45, and then straight down. Okay, and this will have the pump out of the way of the rain and out of the way of any splash or any potential water that could come up here. I got the pump on, it's working perfectly, super good airflow, so I'm going to leave this check valve in. Okay, so the next step is to connect the pipes, build out the inner part of the bubbler where the air is going to flow through and it's going to create the bubbles. There's going to be a pipe running from here up to the pump. Okay, the pipe's going to pump air through here, and then all these tubes will be connected to be a ring around the center and then one through the middle. Then, to drain this thing, I'm doing this a little bit differently than I saw Curtis Stone do it, and I really recommend you go watch Curtis Stone's video about the bubbler. It'll just give you more information, more ideas on how you can set yours up, because this is just one way to do it. This is a 1-inch uni seal, so this is going to go through here, and I'm going to have a pipe going through here. I'm going to be cutting a hole, and the pipe will enter into the box, and I'll have a valve in here that I can turn on and off to release all the wash water. Then there's going to be a pump. I have a fish pond pump, and that pump is going to pump out water, and it'll pump it out to the shrubs here and the banana tree. Because it's going to be a pretty tight fit in here, okay, I'm going to have the pipe come up, and then it's going to mate with that 45. I can twist this to where I need it to be so that it'll meet in the center. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for this. I'm not going to PVC glue any of this together so that I can take it apart and clean it if I need, and there's not going to be any room in here for the pieces to just blow apart. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to cut them. So I'll be using a table saw or a circular saw to cut the 2-inch PVC. For this, I'll be using a 1-inch PVC. So I'll be using some PVC cutters for that. So then to drain the wash bin, I'm going to be using a 1-inch uni seal, and for that you need a 1 3/4-inch hole saw, a very specific hole saw, because this end matches up with that. Alright, so that makes a watertight seal. To start, I'm going to start with this section, and the pipe that you cut will only be able to go as far as here. That's the maximum. So from here to here is 1.5 inches, and then the distance from here to here is another inch, and it's the same on the other side. So 1.5 plus 1 inch plus another 1.5 is 4. What I'm going to need is 2 4-inch length pieces of pipe. So I just want to make sure to do this inside so that all the plastic is contained and I can sweep it up. And if I do it outside, it's going to blow everywhere. So I had to pound on them pretty hard to get them together, but it fits in there perfectly. Okay, so to make the measurements easier, rather than measuring from here to here, here to here, I'm just going to measure the whole length and then cut out 1.5 inches on each side of it, 3 inches off. And I'm just setting up a 2x4 at the other end so that it's really level, and when it cuts through, it makes a perfect 90-degree cut. Okay, so that's going to be my final product. Now I just need to drill some 1/8 inch holes in the tubes. Looking at how Curtis Stone set his up, it's about what he did, and I'm going to go across the top every inch, and then I'll do a couple on the sides here, just because it'll have a wider spread of bubbles going up. So I can always add more, right? Went over and measured the final piece that I'm going to need that's going to connect me to the pump, and 35 inches. So we're going to cut that real quick. Alright, I think I got it perfect. This is really easy to get on and off. So I can slide it on, and then boom, that works just like that. Yeah, it works really well. I don't feel any air escaping, but this is really pumping out air right here. So we'll see once we add water. So now I'm back the next day, and it's time to drill the hole in this bin so I can drain it into this bottom sump tank here. So I'm going to be using a 1-inch pipe, and it's going to fit right through here. So I just need to line up where I'm going to drill the hole. So I just made a little mark in the plastic. And I'm going to double check one last time because I don't want to put the hole in the wrong spot. It's a disaster. So I want to make sure there's space for my hand so I can turn the valve. So I'm going to put the uni seal in now. This is a 1-incher. Okay. Just put my pipe through the fitting here. So I'm going to make it more of the correct size that I want. Once I put it through, I will cut off even more. But I just want to get it closer to what I need. Oh, I'll have to hit it with the hammer. Okay, so I got to stop there because I need to drill another hole. So I want to make sure that this pipe is straight up and down, perpendicular, because that's going to give me the best seal. Okay, and I'm going to make a little scratch around where I need to drill the hole. Okay, so I'm just going to line it up. There we go. Right. And this hole is going to be, much bigger. Okay, so there's plenty of room for that to get in. And then I'll clean this all up at the end because I still need to attach my pump and all these other things, so I'll get into that later. I'm just going to pound it in the rest of the way now. Alright, so now it's essentially flush. It's about a 1/4 inch from the bottom here. We'll be able to drain out. So almost all the water can drain out from this. This is about as flush as I've been able to found. This is better than a bulkhead seal, and this thing's really effective. I love these uni seals. So the way that the uni seal works is you drill a 1.75 inch hole for a 1-inch size uni seal. You're easily able to put the uni seal through the hole. But then when you put the pipe through, it expands the uni seal and makes a very, very tight fit along the edge here. And that's how it creates a watertight seal. So the next thing is to install this valve. It's going to be right inside of here. So I'll be able to reach in my hand and open and close it when I want to drain out. So what I need to do is I'm going to make a little black mark where it can begin. Okay, now I've got a mark for cutting here. This is a PVC cutting tool. They're awesome. If you're gonna do a lot of cutting, you definitely wanna get one. Okay, now the next step is just to put my valve on. All right, doesn't need to be too crazy tight. There it is. So I'm just gonna take my saw and cut this open a little bit more so that the valve can fit through there. Because I wanna be able to take this tub on and off whenever I want to clean it or whatever purpose is necessary. Let's try again. Nice. So now I just need to cut one more little piece that'll fit in the valve and then dump the water into the bin. It only needed to be about 1.5 inches to drop the water into the bin. Put it in. And that's our final piece. And now it's just gonna drop water right in. All right, awesome. Now the bubbler's ready to go. It's totally ready to use. The last step I want to do before I test it out and everything is to hook up my pump, put my pump inside of the bottom tank here so that I can pump the water out. And I'm going to pump it out to my bananas or I could directly hook it up to my irrigation and then I can water all these shrubs. All right, so before I test it out, let's hook that up so that when I drain this out, I'll be able to pump it out, and then that'll be my first try seeing if this thing really works. I'll be using to pump the water out. This is just a fish pond pump, one that I had lying around from it was from my aquaponics system from years ago. So I'm reusing this thing. 85 watts, 1.5 amps, 115 volts, 700 gallons per hour. Okay, so this thing's gonna be sucking. Here's like a filter here. I need to get some sort of like pantyhose or some sort of an extra mesh filter to go on the outside of this just to reduce the amount of dirt. Then I'm gonna take a 1/2 inch line, just like this is a 1/2 inch poly line. This is what I use for all of my drip irrigation as well. So I'm gonna put that into here. It's gonna come out, and then I'm going to attach this to the drip system. So right there's the drip system for the shrubs. So I'm gonna attach the filter right there. All right, so now it's time to put my on and off valves in. And I'll put one more right here. Great, so now I've got it like this. Just need to make one more piece here. Okay, so now I've got this whole thing set up. And now I can plug it into my filter. So now I've just attached a compression to male hose threaded fitting. I just put a screw-on cap on there. So now this prevents any dirt or anything from getting inside of the line here, protects it, and I can connect this to a hose that I can transport water anywhere in the yard. So the idea here is that the really clean water will go through this filter and then into the drip that will water the hedges. So the filter for the shrub irrigation got clogged because there's just so much sediment and dirt. And what we've done is we just put a regular 1/2 inch poly line. We ran that all the way down the shrub line. So instead of running a filter, we're just gonna run it straight. Just run the pipe straight. I need to adapt this now to compression. And we'll run just the straight pipe, and we're just gonna poke holes into this so that any sediment that gets taken out of the sump tank, it'll just be dumped out through the holes here. And we'll just put like one hole for where each shrub is, and that's just an incredibly cheap way to do it. And it should work well because it shouldn't get clogged. Because hopefully the particulate will be able to just shoot out of those little holes that we make. So because I don't have like a float valve set up, the way that I will know, that's the sound. So when this thing's sucking air, that's when I need to turn it off. Because if it's just sucking air, this pump will blow up. And there's no leaks coming out of the uniseal, so it worked perfectly. So now what I'm gonna do is open the valve and make sure that it drains out well, and then we're gonna test the pond pump and pump it out and use our two systems over there. Here we go, we're draining it out. 1/2 inch with a hole poked in it so that the debris and stuff can just blow straight out of that 1/2 inch. And then we don't have to even run a filter. So let's see how the pressure is. There we go. So we're even getting pressure before it's capped off. So once we cap it, then it's gonna be real good here. does this thing get clogged, what ends up happening. But I'm pretty confident I can at least just make the hole a little bigger and then debris will be able to blow out. Or what I could always do is just open this up and rinse out any debris that does get stuck in this. So I think this is gonna be a much better system, and it's the cheapest and easiest. So that's very nice when that works out like that. Line it up. Okay, we've got our valve shut off so that it can fill. Let's fill it up. So as it's filling up, you can see that there's no leaks. All right, so that's super successful. Okay, so now let's fast forward to Friday and the market day when I'm actually gonna use this and show you how I clean it with actual greens in here. All right, got this thing totally finished now. So let me just show you how well it works. And it comes out insanely clean. I'm really happy with how many holes that I drilled and the spacing on the holes. It seems like that was a really good mix that allows there's a really good circulation of the greens. I hope you guys really enjoyed the greens bubbler video and how to make it. I was really happy to show you guys how to make this for free and how easy it is to set it up. It'll take you a day or two to collect the parts and build it, but it is super worth it. I can wash, I think I just dumped about 10 pounds of greens in there. So I think I can go like 8-10 pounds of greens at a time in this thing. So that is just gonna really speed up my process. The level of cleanliness is also at a much higher level now. Having this entire post-harvest setup with the washer, the bubbler, everything, the dryer, that is really taking the post-harvest to the next level and just making it so easy and simple for me and fast.